Greetings, Guardians. My name is Bife here. So, little upfront note about this. I'm recording this video well in advance of the story that releases in week 3 of Act 1 of Heresy, so I don't know exactly at this moment in time what's gone on. I'm going to be talking a lot about story elements that have been present since the very beginning, since the reveal trailer and reveal stream, but I don't know what's going on. Just so you know. Because, revelations aside, there has been very little information about the subject of today's video, Oryx. At least, very little since the reveal of Heresy via both stream and trailer, and at that point, we learned that his spirit had been dredged up from the bones of the Dreadnought. This in itself left us with many interesting conclusions to draw, given that Oryx's body was discovered in the Ghosts of the Deep, and subsequently secured by hidden agents. We've also heard surprisingly little about the echo that brought us to the Dreadnought in the first place. It's kind of blended into the background of this entire ordeal, and whilst it inevitably has relevance, nobody's been able to find the damn thing as of week 2 of Act 1. Of course, by the time I get to this, who knows, this video might have aged like milk. And I don't know, maybe Martin's gonna put a meme here to show everyone how wrong I am. And besides, if the Echo has been discovered, Martin, you get to do a little splash cut of all the cool things that we see in week 3 story. I have no idea if this is going to work. We're going to throw the context out there and pray.
I am the Taken King, the first navigator. I rise from the deep. Xivu Arath, what has become of our war? Slain.
Sadly, yes, Elder Brother. You're just the memory of a dead god. The sword you always wanted to become.
I only just mantled myself by the death of Akka. Carved my throne from the worm's corpse. If I am destroyed, then I deserve extinction. My heir, my killer. Step forward.
Stop acting like children, the both of you. We are finally free to create new paths for ourselves.
Sharpen their knives, that their lie may become my logic's truth.
Figured I owed you an explanation before I went dark. I'll make it quick. I tried to find a way to bring her back. Don't ask me what I did, but it didn't work. So I thought to myself, hey, I got what I always got. What's left for me anyway? Nothing. Knew it'd happen again. I was a fool to hope, but I couldn't help myself. I just wanted you to know, it's nothing personal. It's all me. This is who I am. Always has been. So, don't come looking. I was already halfway gone.
Now we know what we're dealing with. An echo of the Navigator. A memory of Oryx. And not the one we remember. He woke up the Dreadnought and launched the anchors. The Taken are here because of him. And the Dread are working with him. His knife. Eris's killer. But you've caught Oryx's attention. The Echo didn't know you killed him. Now he does, and he's impressed. That means he's distracted. He wants to test you. Use that. Right now, Xivu Arath and Savathun are mobilizing. Their brother's flagship is a battlefield. And Drifter's gone. We have twice the trouble and half the support. Losing Eris was hard on him. We show who we are in hard times. We can't afford to lose focus or lose ground. We need intel. We need you back on the Dreadnought. Find out what you can. We must destroy the Echo. It can't be allowed to exist. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But you've killed Oryx once. You'll do it again.
You know, I would have done this video on release if I really could have, but sometimes you just gotta go ahead and play the hand you're dealt. Regardless of what has or hasn't happened in the story of Week 3 of Act 1, I have some lore that helps explain what might have happened to the Echo, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about that right now. So I should give you all a note before diving into this. I don't usually cover this stuff, but it's in the game and it isn't classified at the moment, so I am going to cover this lore. However, the item attached to this video and everything that revolves around it is not currently available to obtain in-game. It can only be acquired by completing a triumph that we haven't done yet, likely because it releases in either Act 2 or 3. So in the interest of keeping things spoiler-free to that extent and giving you all a chance to alley-oop out of here if you need to stay spoiler-free, yeah, this is your spoiler warning. Just know that for the moment, it's nothing crazy beyond what's been hinted at in the trailer and reveal stream of Heresy, but, you know, I just wanted to give everyone an abundance of caution. And as a little reminder, if it's not something that we can directly access in-game, like right now, if it's something that has been found through leaks, I don't cover it on the channel. So, with the spoiler warning aside, let's talk about what we know. It seems likely that the Echo this episode is somehow going to be acquired by Oryx. But how is that even possible? He's dead and his body is in hidden custody unless they couldn't dredge it from Titan's oceans, in which case it's at the bottom of Titan's oceans. The point is, the Echo slammed into the Dreadnought, not Titan. So how is this connected to Oryx in the first place? As it turns out, the answer is in the nature of the darkness and the interconnectedness of things. In particular, we get to understand more about this idea from the Charon's Toll Sparrow, which can be found in the Collections tab for Heresy and is acquired from completing the Crossed Blades triumph, which we haven't been able to unlock yet. This sparrow features a conversation between Eris Morn and the Drifter. I can't help but feel like this is well before the events that occurred at the start of Heresy, simply based on the fact that there's a lot more of a casual candor between these two characters here. If this was after the events of Act 1, I would imagine that there would be a lot more of a serious tone. Anyway, the lore tab for Charon's Toll reads as follows. Embrace the Eternal Divide. Drifter sat back, kicking his feet up on a nearby console. He wiggled his large toe through a hole in his sock. So, it's a living memory of a dead guy, Drifter recapped. A dead god, Eris corrected him, as she continued to rummage through the piles of junk littering the floor of the derelict Drifter's ship. She tossed aside bits of old food, sparrow parts, and stray ammunition. Ulrash, the Osmium King, Lord of Shapes, and first navigator of the Hive. She held up a moldy clump of glacial stalwart at arm's length. Her nose wrinkled in distaste. You said you had a calcified worm in this cesspit. Produce it. It's around here somewhere, Drifter assured her. If you relax a little, I bet it'll come right to you. I reckon a top-notch occultist like you would have figured that out. Eris ignored his jab and poked another pile of detritus with her foot. A tiny croak and some gentle rustling issued from beneath the plate. Eris's mouth formed a thin line of annoyance. Anyway, Drifter continued. While Oryx was stomping around, drumming up Taken from everything he could get his greedy mitts on, his memories were stored in the darkness. They became interwoven with the fabric of our shared metaconsciousness, Eris elaborated. That's what I said, the rogue Lightbearer exclaimed. Then, after the Guardian killed the Witness, Oryx's memories combined with the light to make the Echo. Yes, that's very nearly correct, Eris humored him. She pulled back an ether-stained banner to reveal a small stone statuette of a plump fish-like creature. She held it up to the light, examining it closely. This is it. Now let us depart before I contract something more pernicious than your company. There's no such thing, Drifter chortled. Trust. So this tells us a bunch of new details. In particular, it tells us that the darkness represents not just a realm of the unseen, including emotions and thoughts and will and memory, but also that the darkness has a shared meta-consciousness. Okay, that's kind of a big deal. In fact, that's an enormous deal. Let me go ahead and explain. This makes a degree of sense, not only because the powers of memory and imagination are facets of dark power generally, but also because we see direct evidence of this kind of interconnectivity coming from darkness. In particular, the weave of Strand comes to mind. Strand is the connective tissue that binds all living things together in the sort of unconscious reality, the one that is not made up of physical things but immaterial connection. Strand is stronger in proximity to the Veil, but its pull can be felt all over the system. Knowing that a greater darkness metaconsciousness also exists implies a few terrible things, though. Firstly, it implies that in places where a lot of terrible memories of pain and suffering happened, there is real power that can be exploited. And I think we've already seen this from places like Luna, where the memory of the Great Disaster was directly manipulated by Nezarek's lunar pyramid to fuel an abundance of nightmarish shades. You might know them as the red ghosts all over the moon. If there are any other places where a particularly evil entity has resided, there's a chance that they continue to live on in those memories, if only in spirit. And the pain of those memories, even if the face that caused them is forgotten, will most certainly linger on. Secondly, it implies that those memories and interconnected moments might be able to be tapped into by anyone with sufficient power. The value of that alone as a reconnaissance tool is immeasurable. Apply it to a murder mystery, for example. The traumatic action of the murder simply taking place would be stored within that metaconsciousness. It might not necessarily be so easy to tap into as the shared collective traumatic memories caused by the Taken King, but the potential is there. Maybe it could even be accessed, and that information might be able to inform anyone interested in discovering what happened. Of course, I am taking this a little bit far, but this also is based on the assumption that this meta-consciousness is available to everyone, and that it's something that you can simply tap into. The meta-consciousness being referred to here could be something that's more specific to this group, say, those who've lived in Sol, or merely those who have experienced the pain of the Taken King. It's not entirely clear what they're talking about, but I think it is correct to talk about it in terms of the application for scale of just the darkness generally. And again, I think all of this does kind of make sense, because I think we've been able to tap into things like this before, particularly with Deep Sight. I mean, take a look at the whole of the Witch Queen campaign. We're just throwing things into Deep Sight and getting all sorts of memory and context from them. So yeah, I think this absolutely makes sense. Regardless of what happens here, I think the other important point is that even with all the darkness memories being manifested here, the idea of Oryx's darkness memory being collided with an echo is significantly more problematic, and that's purely on the basis of the fact that with the power of the light, things that are remembered or imagined can be made real, including the memory of the Taken King. That's where the echo comes into play with all of this. If what the Drifter said is mostly true and the Echo is based off the memory of Oryx, then the light within it is already a tool at the Taken King's disposal once again. With this power at his fingertips, Oryx's return might no longer be completely impossible, even with his body still in the custody of the Last City's hidden agents. This also confirms yet again that simple but unstated point that yes, Oryx must be the one who has somehow acquired the Echo's power this episode. This might also go some way towards confirming why the episode is called Heresy. Resurrection in any manner, but for that use of a throne world, is seen as an affront to the sword logic by the Hive. It's something that Oryx himself would have been furious at. He famously banished Nokris for a similar sin, and that idea is only famous to us because we discovered it. It's one of those things that was so heinous that he actually erased all of the history concerning Nokris from every legible record of the Hive and their histories. This is something the Hive takes seriously, and for the Taken King himself to have been risen in heresy like this does also fit the possible basis for what Heresy was supposedly aiming to deliver, which is for the whole of the Hive pantheon to be shaken up and flipped on its head. I can only imagine how Xivu Arath would react to this, and for that matter, I can't imagine how Oryx would react as well. He may have been resurrected partly with a power of darkness, but the fact that he's also been brought back with the light would probably enrage him. He might ask to die again, or he might simply try to take revenge on the entities that made this thing of him. The whole of the Hive is going to feel the shock effects of that. What happens next isn't clear, but at least now we have a little more knowledge on the darkness and a little more clarity on the nature of the Echo. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like and leave your own thoughts down below in the comments section. If you want more lore from worlds near and far, go ahead and hit subscribe and the bell next to subscribe to turn on email notifications. But as per usual, know that your viewership as always has been quite enough for me. And that in the meantime, my name is Byf. Rhodacia Arastra. I'll see you Starside.